And good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, folks. Welcome to another episode of the Marketing Your Practice podcast. Today, we're going to have a little bit of a discussion about the right place to start your marketing from. Going back to one of my favorite books of all time, Stephen Covey's 7 Habits, we need to begin with the end in mind. And if we miss our starting bit, if we miss the platform where we're meant to jump off with our marketing, then everything goes wrong. This mistake is the mistake that ultimately ends up having us look pushy and needy and sometimes like that sleazy car salesperson. So if you don't want to look pushy, if you don't want to look needy, if you don't want to look like the sleazy car salesperson, then you need to really listen to this episode because I'll tell you where our marketing needs to start from. Now, before we do that, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to do a really quick little product review here because I get questions from you guys each and every week about what should I shoot my video on? Should I use my iPhone? About lights and cameras and all those kind of things there too. I'm going to talk to you about my favorite tool or toy of 2020. I think it's my favorite so far. I'm going to talk to you about microphones. So in particular, I'm going to talk with you about this little guy here. It's a Rode product. It's called the Wireless Go. Okay, so what does it look like? When you buy it, it's these two little guys here as well. One of them's a transmitter, one of them's a receiver, which just means this. One of these kind of connects into your camera. Now, it'll connect into any camera. If you're using an iPhone, then you will need one of these little devices that helps it connect into your iPhone and a connecting kind of cable there as well. So this would plug into your iPhone. Now, this other end here, this is the actual got a microphone that's built into it. So you could clip this just to your collar. You could pop it kind of in your pocket there as well. Or you can get another little lavalier microphone that kind of clips into this and you can just have this literally in your pocket, in your pants, hidden somewhere, and then just a tiny little microphone on your collar here as well. So what do I love about it? It's wireless for starters. So it gives us that freedom. Many of the kinds of videos that you might want to be sharing with your patients are videos, maybe going through a stretch, showing them how to set up their desk. Maybe you're teaching them something that means that it's not always easy to be really close to the camera, or it just means that you're moving around. And so having a connection with a microphone makes it difficult. One of the things that you should be doing, if you're teaching regular workshops in your practice, you should be videoing those, and then you should be breaking those workshops up into little mini clips and sharing those with your patients and your community also. And that might mean that the camera, even if it's just your iPhone, is miles away. And if your camera's miles away, then the sound is going to be terrible. It'll pick up all the other sound in the room there too. And having a really long wide through microphone is not convenient. So there's lots of different brands of these. You'll notice all the time, I talk about Rode stuff a lot because I love it. It's definitely not the cheapest product on the market out there, but their stuff just always seems to work. Now, this little beauty here in particular is 250 Aussie bucks. So you get a bit less if you're North American based also. So it's called the Rode Wireless Go. And remember, if you're an iPhone user too, you'll need to make sure you have one of these little adapters so it clips in there also. If you're looking for a really simple way to improve the quality of your audio, or the quality of your video rather, then improving the quality of your audio is a great place to start. This also, here's the thing, podcasts are growing at an incredible rate. We just saw, for those of you that might be Joe Rogan fans of the podcast, I think Spotify is paying him something like $100 million a year to shoot his podcast from, it was over on YouTube and iTunes over to Spotify only. So they are investing this type of money in the platforms because they think that podcasts is a thing of the future. It's now because there's so many people that are listening to it. But many of the new cars that are coming out nowadays are able to have listen to podcasts directly through them. We don't even need our phones. If we start to shoot our videos with a really good quality audio, like I'm doing here right now, it means that we can repurpose our content. Some of you like to watch video, some of you like to listen to audio, some of you like the choice between both of them. And you should give the same choice to your community also. But trying to take the audio just from your mobile phone, unless it's really close to you in a quiet room, the audio can be pretty terrible. So having a microphone or adding a microphone to it is a really great idea. And if you're looking for something that'll probably last you for decades, these little Rode Wireless Go's are a really good spot to start. So there you go. That's my first kind of product suggestion. It's not a sponsorship because I don't get paid by these guys. I wish I did, because I've spent thousands of dollars with them. Maybe if I keep on doing enough of these product reviews from Rode all the time, and you guys buy them and you say that I sent you there, maybe they'll sponsor me. Probably not. Okay, back onto what we're talking about today. I've been doing lots of coaching consults recently, and one of the questions I start the coaching consult up with a new client is, what are you hoping to achieve in the next 90 days? So if you and I are to have this conversation in 90 days from now, and we're looking back over those 90 days, what would need to have happened for you to be happy with the results? That's a question I learned from strategic coach Dan Sullivan. If you ever get stuck with setting goals, and whether it be 1 week, 2 weeks, 90 days, let me structure that question for you again. If you and I were having this conversation, then insert the time length. In this case, I talk 90 days when I start coaching with somebody. What would need to happen for you to look back over that time and for it to feel like a great success? So if you want to plan out your next 12 months, you think, if I was sitting down looking at my results over the next 12 months, what would need to happen for me to feel really good about it? That can be a really easy way for you to think about your goals. So I have those kind of conversations with a coaching client. And invariably they come back and they tell me something like this. I really want to get my name out there. I want more people to know who I am. I want more presence in my community. Or I want to start to get a social media presence. I'm not anywhere on Instagram or Facebook, and I've got nobody following me, and I have nobody come along to my website. Let me tell you those two basic things again. I want to get my name out there, or I need to have a presence on social media, my community, and sort of the two. Now, both those are saying the same kind of thing. Both those are an old way at looking at marketing. And what they're really all about is they're all about, the key word in both of those was what I need. I need to have a social media presence. I need to get my name out there. Now, when we come from that platform, or when you come from that platform that you want to get your name out there, the direction that follows is a whole bunch of content and videos that are really mostly all about you. And when we continue to make it all about you, that's where our content often ends up needy and pushy, and sometimes a little bit sleazy as well. So we need to spin that around. I was going to say 360 degrees, but that'd get us right back to where we started. We need to spin that around 180 degrees. And instead of saying, I need to get my name out there, here's a question that you could perhaps ask yourself. Is there a group of people in your community who have a problem that you can solve? Think about that for a moment. Who are the group of people in your community who have a problem that you know you can solve? That's really what you need to obsess about before you even start to think about your marketing. In fact, I've just given you the hint. That's what marketing is. And if you've been listening to the podcast for any length of time, then you realize that's my idea of marketing. It's identifying a group of people who have a problem that you can solve and then starting to solve that problem. Now, at the moment, we use media. We might use a podcast like I am now. We might use a blog, the written word. Maybe you want to use photographs, or the easiest way to do it is videos. I'm going to therefore, because once we commit to solving that problem, it then drives our actions. We can then start to commit to understanding their problem even more. And I had a fantastic conversation this morning where we were diving into this process of understanding our audience more, because sometimes we miss why we need to do that, okay? And we were talking this morning about a guy who's the avatar. Christopher was his name, the imaginary person who has a problem that we were going to solve. He had low back pain and sciatica. And we started off with this idea of what kind of impact is the sciatica and the low back pain having on his life? And we dived into, in this imaginary person's idea, it was impacting his work, which then meant that he wasn't being able to keep up at work. His co-workers were doing a lot of work for him. He was feeling really vulnerable in around his work, that he might lose his job. He was the primary earner in his family, or certainly contributed to it at least half there as well. And so if he lost his income because he lost his work, that was going to have a significant impact on his family life. It also, in many cases, this can have an impact on our identity. Christopher was a guy, it was almost demasculating or emasculating in his situation. When we find out all this kind of stuff, it means that we can make our videos so that they're not just communicating on a logical level. Instead of me just saying, to someone, hey, listen, I've got 3 stretches. If you've got low back pain and sciatica, I've got 3 stretches that will help you out. If at the start of our video, we're able to say something like, Hey, listen, if you're suffering from low back pain and leg pain, then you've probably noticed it's maybe starting to affect you at work too. And have you worried that your job might not be there forever if you can't perform? And have you thought about, has it kept you up at night that if you don't have your work, how are you going to look after your family? If that sounds familiar, then I need you to watch this video today. I'm going to share 3 really simple but very powerful exercises that are going to help to release some of the muscles and start to begin to line the lower part of the back here to give you some ease. Now, if you've tried these exercises in the past and they haven't worked for you, then chances are you need a little bit more help. For those of you that have done that, I'm going to suggest that you give the office a call, speak with Mackenzie, 9646-1414, and we need to start working with you right away. Now, obviously in that too, I'd then show my exercises. But when I make a video like that, I'm communicating in this situation to Christopher's, the emotional side of things, not to the logic of the back pain. It's the emotion that's going to really have him connect with me. Emotions are what have us connect with each other there too. And it's much more likely going to have him take action. That message and even my tone of voice and everything that I went through that is very heartfelt. Okay, it doesn't sound pushy or needy. It's not about me. It's all about Christopher. This is not about me trying to get my name out there. This approach in this situation here is I'm focused. Christopher has a problem. I want to solve that problem for him as well. So I want you to have a think about things, the type of content maybe that you're sharing across your social media platforms, and even if I'm to come along to your website. Yes, it needs to have a little bit about you. Sometimes I've been misinterpreted as saying that, when we go to things like the About Me page, that it should be, rather than all about me, it should be all about my customers. I want to know a little bit about you. But inside of that too, it also needs to be a good mix, 50-50, about the problems that you help and why you help them and how you go about that. In fact, and I've done previous episodes here where we've talked a lot about the website, but I want you to do a bit of an overview. The marketing content that you're sharing, where are you starting from? Are you starting from the premise that I need to get my name out there? Is that what your focus is, or that you need to have a presence on social media? If you are, then my first contention is that you're probably not getting great results with it. It probably feels like a struggle for you to come up with ideas all the time, for you to connect with people. You probably don't have people interacting with your videos, with your blog posts, those kind of things. I want you to think about spinning that around and instead asking yourself this: who's the group of people in my community who have a problem that I can solve? And then get committed to solving that problem. Solve it online. Help to get them a result before they even need to come in and see you. Right, gang, that's it for today. You've had a product tip as well. You've had some deep strategy about where marketing should come from also. Until next time, thanks for all that you continue to do. Keep saving lives. I'll see you back here in the next episode. Love you lots, gang. Bye. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast, you have to come and check out the Community Influencer Program. It's my monthly coaching program where we take all this material and I'll work one-on-one with you to apply, implement, systematize, and help guide you and your practice to the next level. Now you can join me on over at adiomedia.com/join. That's adiomedia.com/join. I'd love to see you in there.